what's going on, guys? This is Kev, and welcome back to the channel. So what you just heard was my custom Knaggs Choptank. And I wanted to make this video because I've actually had a lot of people asking me about this guitar, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube comments, or just messaging me directly. So I figured it was time to do a full breakdown and highlight the guitar, go through all the specs, and explain why I spec'd it out this way with Knaggs. Because the goal with this build was really specific. I wanted a guitar that could cover classic Tele tones, classic Strat inspired tones, and also tap into some of those weirder vintage voices you hear in old Harmony, Teisco, and Silvertone guitars. And honestly, I don't think I've played another guitar that does all of that this convincingly. So let's go ahead and get into it. Before we dive into the Choptank, a quick little bit of housekeeping. If you're a guitarist, musician, or you just love nerding out on gear, subscribe to the channel below and ring the bell so you're notified the next time I drop a video. It helps support the channel, keeps me doing what I'm doing, and I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys. Before we dive into the specs, I want to talk a little bit about Knaggs for a second. Knaggs Guitars is a boutique guitar company based in Maryland, founded by Joe Knaggs and Peter Wolf. And their whole approach is basically build extremely high-end instruments, but with a custom process that still feels personal. These aren't guitars that come off a huge production line. They're hand-built, detail-focused, and the craftsmanship is honestly as good as anything I've played. At this point, I can genuinely say Knaggs is one of the best boutique guitar companies I've personally had my hands on. More people need to actually spend time with these guitars because if you haven't played a Knaggs yet, you're missing out. All right, let's get into the guitar. This is my Knaggs Choptank, finished in trans white, and visually, it's one of those guitars where you can immediately just tell that it's boutique. The finish is super clean, no weird spots, no sloppy edges, no imperfections. Everything feels super intentional. The body is swamp ash, which gives you that classic snap and clarity, but still has warmth. It's a wood that works incredibly well if you want that Fender style DNA without being harsh. The neck is maple with an East Indian Rosewood fingerboard and simple dot inlays. And I love that choice because it keeps it classy and understated. And one thing that stands out immediately is how refined everything feels. The fretwork is perfect. The neck feels broken in, but still precise. It's totally free of imperfections. It's one of those guitars where the first time you pick it up, you don't feel like you're fighting it at all. It feels like it's already totally dialed in. Up here on the headstock, I went with an ebony headstock veneer, which I think just looks super cool. And the guitar has Gotoh locking tuners, which is always a win for stability, especially when paired with the trem. Now, hardware-wise, this guitar has the Knaggs Chesapeake Trem bridge, which is a big part of why I wanted this model, because I love the Tele meets Strat thing, and having a trem on a guitar like this gives you access to those subtle vibrato textures, chord shimmers, and all the expressive stuff that you just don't get on a hardtail. And stability-wise, it's rock solid. I also spec'd a graphite nut, which helps a ton with tuning consistency. Now, the control layout is where things get really interesting. We've got master volume, master tone, and then a blend knob. And the blend knob is what turns this from a great guitar into an insanely versatile guitar. The guitar has a 5-way blade switch like a Strat, but the blend knob allows you to do something really unique. If you're on the neck pickup, you can blend in the bridge pickup, and if you're on the bridge pickup, you can blend in the neck pickup. So basically, you can get classic Strat-style switching, but you can also access the classic Tele middle position sounds, and a bunch of in-between tones that normally aren't even possible. Now let's talk pickups, because this is the heart of the whole build. Now, typically I'm a Seymour Duncan guy through and through. I worked at Seymour Duncan for nearly 6 years. I know the team, and I know the quality of their products is second to none. Unfortunately, one of the very few pickup types that they don't make are gold foils, and that was something that I just really wanted for this Choptank build. So for the neck and middle pickups, I went with Lawler gold foil soap bars, and then in the bridge, I went with a Lawler specialty Tele bridge pickup, just to keep things consistent. And the reason I did this is pretty simple. I wanted the guitar to have that classic Fender foundation, but also have some vintage weirdness and character on tap. The Tele bridge pickup gives you that classic bite, punch, and snap. And with the Swamp Ash body, it just cuts through a mix immediately. But the gold foils are where the magic gets strange in the best possible way. They have this really unique top-end response. It's not exactly Strat-like, and it's not exactly P90-like. It's kind of airy and microphonic in a controlled way. And it has this lo-fi vintage texture that reminds me of old Harmony and Teisco guitars. So when you combine the gold foils with the 5-way switching and the blend knob, this guitar becomes an absolute tone machine. All right, now I want to go through the 4 tones that you heard in the track at the beginning, but in isolation, and explain why I chose them and why they work so well with this guitar. This is the neck gold foil, and this is the foundation for some of my favorite tones that come from this guitar. It's warm, but it's not muddy when clean. It has this sparkle on top that makes it feel almost acoustic in a way, and it sits in a mix perfectly without needing a ton of EQ. But when overdriven or paired with fuzz, it gets almost out of control sounding in the best way. That's where you really start getting that vintage Harmony Silvertone personality. This is where the 3 pickup setup really shines. With the 5-way switch, you get those classic notched position sounds, that quack that people associate with Strat tones, but they're a little unique with the neck and middle gold foils. It's tight, it's glassy, and it has that percussive response that works insanely well for funkier rhythm playing, arpeggiated parts, or anything that needs a little extra clarity. This is one of the main reasons I wanted the middle pickup. Now this is the Tele bridge pickup, the Lawler Special T. This is your classic cutting Tele tone. It's punchy, it's aggressive, and it has that bite that makes riffs feel alive. In the track, this was the sound that really carried the lead parts because it has the most immediate attack. It's a great bridge pickup if you want something that can do clean twang, but also push into overdrive and still stay articulate. And this is where this guitar becomes something special. With the blend knob, I can take the neck pickup and blend in the bridge pickup to get those classic Tele middle position tones, but also with more flexibility because I can choose how much bridge pickup I want. This gives you everything from a slightly thicker Tele bridge tone or slightly brighter neck tone to that full, warm, balanced middle position sound. And it's extremely useful in a mix because it fills out the mid-range without losing clarity. That's a tone that I honestly don't get out of any other guitar I own. So when I spec'd this guitar out with Peter and Joe, my goal was to basically make the ultimate one guitar instrument. I wanted Strat-Style switching and trem feel, Tele bridge bite and classic Fender punch, and that gold foil vintage weirdness you only hear from old department store guitars. And the craziest thing is it actually delivers on all of it. The trem gives you that Strat expressiveness. The Tele bridge pickup gives you that classic twang and cut. The gold foils give you the personality and uniqueness. And the blend knob ties the whole thing together. This is one of those guitars that can achieve so many classic sounds, but it also simultaneously has a character all its own. I've honestly never played anything else like it. So overall, this guitar is easily one of the best built instruments I've ever owned. The craftsmanship is flawless, the playability is effortless, and the tonal range is honestly ridiculous. And if you're someone who loves Fender style guitars, but you want something boutique, something hand-built, something with personality, Knaggs is absolutely a company you should keep an eye on, and the Choptank model in particular is definitely one you should check out. I genuinely think Knaggs is underrated right now, but way more players are already starting to realize how special these guitars are. They certainly won't be underrated for long. If there's another boutique guitar company that you're into and think I should check out, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what guitars you guys are playing. Thanks so much for tuning in, y'all, and I'll see you on the next one.